Okay, that was episode 10 of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, the Juju strolls are really the best part of
They
the show,
are
honestly.
great.
They have so much humor, and like while using the characters to accurately show a side of humor that the character themselves with the personality that has been created for that character would actually do.
Doesn't it make you wish like every anime did something like that after credit?
Yes. That was amazing and perfect. Okay. So, Junpei is probably not fully just a normal human anymore. I'm going to assume that when Mahito was once talking about how he could turn people into curses, I believe there was also a line that insinuated that he could also give people cursed energy. I guess if he wished. It doesn't seem like he has wanted to before now. But there's something about Junpei that he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a friend out of this guy. Or maybe he sees that Junpei has a lot of hate or something and he wants to capitalize on that and use him. I don't know, because he could have literally just made him another experiment. Maybe this is an experiment. I mean, this guy seems to like to want to experiment, so I could only guess that if he would do anything, it would also count as experimental. So, yeah, what's going to happen? Itadori obviously had a great first impression for Junpei. He pulled that teacher's pants down, and I really appreciated that because that was sickening. I'm sorry, but that exchange with the teacher was sickening. It was already sickening enough to have the scenes with the bullies bullying Junpei. But for the teacher who we know watched all of that, watched the torture.
It was like he walked down the hall, looked at like a second of it, not necessarily a torturous second, and then leaving.
Teachers know if someone is not nice. They would know even if they don't do anything about it.
I have met teachers and just people who are older than I in general who have had a very similar mindset with no ill will like towards me as that teacher, with like, oh, like completely not realizing and being naive to the fact of the relationship, if they're being bullies, if they're being rude, and just being like, oh, I see you around them and you're around their age, they're friends of yours, right? And it's a shame.
You
and
are
it sucks,
right.
But
that
happens.
Really is. I was about to say adult, but I'm like, I am technically an adult, and so are you now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, so I get you. Like,
unfortunately, it happens.
Bullies come in all shapes and sizes. Bullies can be your best friend. Bullies can be people you're around a lot, and if someone doesn't come in right at the moment that their fist is connecting with your face, or they are doing something else horrible to you, they might just think that you hang out with each other. That's very true. I understand that now that you have reminded me of that.
Yeah, it sucks.
But I was very angry at the time watching it, as Junpei was. Like, how dare you blindly be like, that was so rude of you to not be at their funerals. They're your friends.
Yeah.
Like, and he also just had this arrogance to him that I didn't understand. Like, it's enough already to have, like, said something that he didn't intentionally know was cruel. But then the air about him was also already to just be an asshole for some reason.
I mean...
Or, like, that he thinks he's higher or mightier, I guess, because he's an adult and he's
I think
a
that's
teacher.
a good way to put it.
And so his energy, I was like, that's a no-go for me. Don't like this guy. And also how, like, once Itadori came in to be like, oh, I need to talk to you about something, how he treated Itadori just because Itadori was younger than him. Even, like, he's not your student. It's not a uniform you recognize. You can't talk to him like you have authority over him when you don't know him and he doesn't go to your school.
I think the quote was like, you're a kid, why, like, you don't have anything important to say, you know, like...
Yeah. Which just means that this guy is probably a really sucky educator. To think that someone's age defines if they have anything of value to contribute is nauseating.
Yeah. So that happened. We got some Nanami. He's a grade 1.
Yeah, I was surprised there wasn't more of like a scene of him reacting to Mahito being like, "Oh, I wish I'm so glad Gojo didn't like show up." I thought there was going to be a different reaction. I think I was expecting more of like, kind of like, now you've made me mad and I'm going to show you that I'm awesome. I don't know.
I don't think that happened because he completely acknowledges and respects Gojo for his power and talents, Like
they're not rivals.
Correct. Like he is like, okay, I don't like respect you like in your beliefs or whatever, but I acknowledge that you're powerful and strong. Like he's not. Honestly, there's nothing really Nanami feels about Gojo that isn't really correct in a certain sense.
It seems like he knows Gojo very, very well, accurately, and still, it just seems like he knows him really well. Makes me want to know more about like them first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm sure it was more of a situation where Nanami was kind of just doing his own thing, reading a book or something, and Gojo came along on like at school and was just kind of like, "We're friends now," and like put a frog in his pocket. I don't know, some prank.
Yeah.
I could see that, but anyway, Nanami fighting. I was thinking something bad would happen to him in this episode. I was wrong. But it did seem like they were catering the conversation and the fight to make it seem like he definitely did not have the upper hand in that situation, and that this opponent is very, very strong and very, very capable of obviously regrowing, protecting his soul, and shaping into whatever form best fits him at that moment. And he is also using dead and maybe not so dead, still have some of their, mind left humans as these corpse things. And it's really disgusting. And as soon as Nanami wiped away that tear, I was like, oh my god. That he has to be telling himself that there is nothing he can do for these people and then attack them. Like, that must be really hard. I couldn't even imagine.
The fight seemingly is going to go on next episode, right?
Yes, and he's working overtime. I think that was a great ending to the episode. That whole tie wrapping around the hand.
Definitely makes you want to watch more.
I know, it did make me want to. I want to see what that means. Like, where did the new extra energy come from? Is Mahito gonna be like, oh shoot, when he sees that and try to escape in some way so he doesn't have to fight anymore or deal with it? It seems like he was enjoying himself though, so I don't know if he would run. Did Junpei, don't know how that conversation is gonna go. Obviously he knew who Itadori was in some way as soon as he saw the uniform. So definitely he was crash coursed before being allowed back into the human world and out of the sewer. These are the people to stay away with. These are the people that know who you are. Mm-hmm. These, that sort of thing. Is he instantly going to try to find a way to kill Itadori, or is there going to be trouble because they're going to be quite fond of each other and have a friendship? Seems like that's where it's going to go, in my opinion. Whether there's double agents, I don't know.
I almost feel like this episode and next episode could have been one long episode or a two-parter.
Well, I haven't seen next episode yet, but from the feeling of this episode, it felt like it should have just gone right into the next one.
That's what I'm more saying, not even based on the content of next episode, but the way that they set up this episode and leave it off. They have these two, I guess, A plot, B plot, and they both are like halfway done seemingly.
Yeah, it seems like this would be one of those episodes where if you were watching this on like a weekly release, it would have just kind of been like, what?
But I
Excuse
mean,
me, like...
which is really awesome though in a sense, because it gives like, I would rather wait that week to see this episode than see all the material in both episodes condensed and tried to be fit into one episode.
Yeah, there was definitely two important storylines that were going on simultaneously, which is obviously Itadori and Junpei, and then thinking back to Junpei's past, and then Nanami getting into the sewer, investigating, and finding Mahito and having this fight. It definitely seems like both of those were like very important. I'm going to be excited for when Itadori can join back up with his classmates and they can rejoin the story in a fuller capacity. I would find that very enjoyable. I really do miss, not even kinda, I miss Itadori and Fushiguro's dynamic, but obviously Nobara there in their dynamic is also awesome.
It's an interesting way to go about an anime, yeah? Like, introduce these amazing characters
and then
right
just,
off the bat.
leave them for a bit.
Yeah, and, like, we've gotten, like, checkups on them, you know? Like, the show hasn't forgotten about them whatsoever, but it's, like, cool how, you know...
Like, there was a few episodes where Itadori was basically, like, a side character doing his own little mission that you only saw for, like, a couple minutes.
I mean, you could potentially think that on their first, I guess, like, mission, right, where Itadori died, Itadori could potentially be considered the weakest one at that time out of the three when it comes to skill and cursed energy. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like he needed to catch up somehow, and it kind of, like, storytelling-wise, seems like the perfect like, vessel for that. To have them split up for a little bit. Yeah,
without having those frustrating scenes of him falling behind and him risking the mission and putting them in danger because of his... When really, like, even though he had that lack of skill and that lack of knowledge about cursed energy beforehand, he still made it so they could get out alive on that mission.
Oh my God,
he basically saved their butts. And then now, like... When you bring that up, obviously any future missions after that, the discrepancy, the difference in the skill level and the knowledge, he didn't even know the rankings of curses or anything.
Yeah.
That would come to play and possibly, for the plot to seem realistic or accurate, it would have to end up harming the team in some way. So I think that this was a great idea to kind of bring him up to speed, teach him a lot of things on his own, the way that Fushiguro and Nobara probably had before reintroducing them all together as a team.
I also like that it wasn't just Gojo training him, because I think like multiple, like, each teacher has their own lessons, you know? Mm-hmm. Each teacher has a different point of view and perspective.
They're very different styles. Obviously, Nanami and Gojo are not the same. Ichiji was like, it's because Gojo's irresponsible. Like, Itadori was like, why don't I know this? Or like, I'm surprised I didn't know this. And he was like, you're supposed to know this. Like, what is these lesson plans he's teaching you? It's not school regulated for sure.
I love this show, man. I really like Nanami. He's cool.
Mm-hmm. I just really want to know the whole work element to it.
You have every
time. I just want to know so bad, like, what that means. Is it another power or thing or technique?
This is the most spoilery thing that I will say in this whole series, probably. You have everything you need right now to understand what his ability is.
He starts chopping with his hand instead of his weapon? Because he wrapped up his hand?
No, like the whole, like what karate? You just said, like quoting you, the work thing. Like understanding his, you know, power.
His work ethic?
Understanding his, like, you know, I guess, cursed energy technique. You have everything you need to understand it. That being said, we might learn about it more. He might explain it to us.
Oh,
Gojo might explain it to us.
He's gonna explain it. That's how he works. He's gonna be telling the opponent what he's doing and how he's doing it, right?
Maybe.
So I'm sure we're gonna get an explanation from him. And then Gojo would just be like, yeah! That's my best friend!
Alright, that's all I have, you.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Multiple, like, each teacher has their own lessons, you know? Each teacher has their own lessons, you know?